If you are just getting started on YouTube, today we're going to share with you what we wish someone would have told us before we got started on our YouTube journey, because what's ahead of you is probably not what you think it is. Hey guys, my name is Tim SCHMOYER and this is
Lennon.
We are YouTube strategists here at Video Creators, and I think one of the first things that I wish someone would have told me when I got started is that there's way more to learn than I thought there was going to be. There's editing, there's video production, there's lighting, there's sound, there is storytelling, there's business development, product development, how to work with brands. It's like a skill to do this successfully requires a lot. It's not as simple as just making some videos and publishing them on YouTube and thinking like, that's all I need to do.
Yeah. A lot of times we watch channels like Peter McKinnon or Casey Neistat, all these big YouTubers that we love, right? And we think that just looks simple, like I should just copy them and do that, and it's just not the way it works. We just can't jump in full bore and have the same success that they have in the same way that they did. Everybody's journey is different, and we're all just taking our own path.
I think sometimes we're like, oh, I could do that. That seems simple.
Yeah.
And what we don't see are like years of like good athletes and musicians and actors, what they spent behind the scenes before you even heard of them. One of my favorite examples is Mr. Beast. People think he just like hit this gold mine and got to 40 million whatever subs he has now, but it was actually 7 years where he was making videos consistently where no one even knew who he was. He was getting no traction at all. We just want things instantly, and when things take too long or too much work, we tend to cop out pretty easily, I think.
We'll hear it from clients all the time where it's like they come and we want to work and help them grow, but growth to us is often measured in percentages as opposed to like big vanity metrics, just because that makes a lot more sense from a business perspective, as well as just starting to understand what's actually working. They'll just say, well, where was my 100,000 subscribers? It's like, well, that's just not the way it works right away. You have to see growth and see that growth as a real win, a measurable difference in the way your channel's working.
When I started on YouTube in 2006, there was no money here. There wasn't a lot of fame or popularity or anything like that. And as money got introduced a few years later to the platform, then I was like, oh, I could make this something viable. But it still took me, I started in 2006 and I wasn't full-time until 2013. That's 7 years I went like pursuing this goal until we finally got it. And I think that there's something really important about pursuing something that's totally worth it, even though it's gonna take a lot of work to get there.
The third thing is that it's more expensive than you actually think it's going to be. And you know, when you start to add up the cameras, the lenses, just the simple things like everyday expenses like your internet connection, your most valuable asset, which is time, then you start getting into hiring people like editors. You go to places like this where you're at a conference, you're trying to meet and network with new people that could then grow your business, grow your expectations, grow your expertise, right? When you get into those things, over the long term, like I've already spent way more money than I would ever want to spend, but it's still worth it because you're growing and building this thing that is your dream. It can be really hard to spend money, especially on something that we're not sure what the return is going to be. So I wish somebody would have told me that, but at the same time, I know that I need to be investing in myself to make sure this is going to happen.
One of the biggest costs that I didn't expect going into this was travel to conferences and events. You think that growing a YouTube channel is primarily about how do I just like camera gear and things, but it's actually, I've found the most valuable thing is like going to places where you're gonna meet and connect and get to know other people, because those relationships pay dividends down the road in much bigger ways than you ever expected they were. And most creators, I don't even think about that when they're first getting started.
I feel like it's also more emotionally draining than you actually anticipate. It can be this emotional roller coaster of, okay, I've got new subscribers, that's awesome, you get really excited, get comments, and then all of a sudden things dip, and then you're like, okay, do I suck? What's happening? And you just go through this over and over and over, and it can get really exhausting.
And then the one comment you do finally get is like, you suck. And you're like, oh, like you got excited, you get a comment, and then you're like, oh, so it is definitely this. The best part though is that this is absolutely more rewarding than you ever thought it could be. One of my favorite parts about being a YouTube creator is not just the lifestyle and the freedom and things like, although that is very much a part of it. The thing that got me most excited is when I would hear a story from someone who were like, thank you for making that video. It changed my life. It helped me overcome this obstacle I was facing. It got me from point A to point B in my career or whatever. Like when you are actually serving people and helping people, that makes a huge difference. One of my favorite stories, and when I first had this aha moment, was when my wife and I, this is many years ago, we made this video and we got this email from someone who's like, thank you for making that video. I just got married 2 months ago. My husband and I are already struggling in our relationship. I don't know if we're gonna make it, but I shared that video. I saw that video of you and your wife talking about how you're learning to love each other better. I shared that with my husband. We talked about it and we have hope again for our marriage, and just wanted to say thank you. And I was like, that happened from our video?
Yeah.
And that gets way more addicting than whatever amount of money or lifestyle choices or whatever that you get to make as a result of this.
And I also think the idea of being able to live from your creativity, from the thing that actually fuels a lot of our emotional life, it doesn't get much better than that.
If you have been a creator for a little while, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. What did you not expect? And what turned out to be way harder or bigger or more awesome than you ever expected? And if you are getting started on YouTube, please go down there, read the comments other people are leaving. You're gonna learn a ton from them. We always do. We really appreciate you guys helping each other out. And we're looking forward to hearing what you would add to the things that we wish someone told us when we were first getting started.